Asa McGillian.
Hi Paul, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good to see you again.
How's lockdown treating you?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I have to say, lots of family time at the start.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, can't deny that some parts of it have been good. Some have obviously been a lot more taxing, to say the least.
Well, you've got a young family.
Yeah.
Young wife, young family, new home, I think, over the past few months. So it's been good to spend time with them. But business is business. You know, you're running a multi-million-pound business, and in fact, you've got so many. With all due respect, you've got a lot of brands tied up with. I think the email still says Ace Fixings.
Yeah.
But you've then got Apeer, which I think is doors, and also within Apeer you make Lumi windows. Try and unravel that for me, will you?
Well, yeah, I can give you a brief history. So Ace Fixings is our parent company. That was set up by my father in 1978. It is not named after me, as many people have asked. We also then branched into PVC door panels in about 1994-95. And to be fair to Dad, he had the good sense to start a composite door company for good or ill in 2001. We launched the Apeer door brand in 2003. So this is our 17th year manufacturing Apeer doors. We've also had a few offshoots from Apeer doors. We've had the diamond door range, and we've also had isolate fire doors, a very successful fire door launched in 2008. But the biggest launch we've had since then has been the Lumi window system, and that was in 2015.
And what prompted that? You know, I mean, that's quite a departure from being a door manufacturer.
Yeah, I mean, we always try to be innovative, unique. That's part of our DNA. And I really felt that there was something different about the window I'd imagined that we could bring to the market. So we always try to set ourselves apart, be different, be stylish, be innovative, be sophisticated in our looks. And I think that's what the Lumi brand encapsulates. And that's really the main reason why we launched Lumi. Another reason would have been too, we sell a lot of doors to the window industry. And I've always seen that every door sale is potentially a lost window sale. But what we wanted to do was really carve out our own niche in the window market.
When did you join the firm?
1995. This is my 25th year for definite.
You're not old enough, are you?
I was 16. So 16 in 1995, and I joined the firm October 1995.
What did you do? What was your first job?
Yeah, the first job was pressing PVC door panels.
Was it?
So yeah, it was my first job. Certainly it was a very interesting year working with some of the guys who are still with the firm as we speak. So a lot of my work colleagues now, a lot of them now would be managers, were a part of the firm in 1995 and would have been workers on the floor like myself.
When did you get the reins as the MD?
Yeah, so really about 2008 to 2009, I knew Dad was going to be looking around for somebody new. And I knew I was young, and I thought maybe it was too big for me at that point. But if I didn't pipe up and have a go at it, it could pass me by. So 2010, I made a play for it and was given the role, or was duly obliged to be given the role, take your pick. So since then, I've been the managing director since 2010.
What's the difference between the day you took over and the Ace Fix? Let's call it Apeer.
Yeah.
So the Apeer that exists today.
Well, we're probably about at least 3 times the size. Now, are we 3 times as profitable? That's a different question, and I think we'll leave that one aside. So we've invested very, very heavily in the company. We have built 2 new factories in that time. We have launched 2 sub-brands and 1 brand new window and door brand. So we very much have planned for the future, planned for growth. You know, we do have a set of plans, projections to take us up and beyond 20 to 30 million over the next 5 years. And so it's always been about investment and investment and investment, and growth is what we want to do. And so we've had a few ups and downs, but by and large, we've grown all of the brands successfully.
One of the things that I've read, I think, about your business is that you like to keep a lot of stuff in house. You use. I don't know if that makes you a control freak, but I know this is the the way of a lot of people. They like to be in control, but even to the point of putting a glass toughening plant in.
Yeah, that's right. We actually have 2 toughening plants. We have controlled every aspect of the business since about 2006. And the main reason being that supply chain was too unreliable. In those days, it just kept causing us problems, whether it would have been glass, shaped glass, curves, arches, painted frames. We all would have outsourced in those days. None of it was reliable. So we pretty much brought about 95% of all the processes in-house. We have very little product in. We manufacture everything in-house. So we do have a lot of capabilities. And again, with that brings complexity. But what it also does is it allows us to control the offerings for our customers much better. We can control lead times, control quality. And I think that's one of the most important factors of doing it all ourselves.
You've, I did read the other week that you are towards the end of a current 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Has it gone to plan?
No. Let's be honest. So I think certainly there have been a few challenges in the last year or two, a few things that upset us. We had a factory build that didn't go as fast as it should have done. We had a major problem with one of the old furnaces before the new one went in. So those had issues with the Lumi window system getting up to full speed. But we're through all of those now, and to be honest, we were kicking ass the end of last year and the start of this year, and then we had another bit of a bump on the road with the current situation.
Do you have, how far are you along that? Are you at the end of that 5-year plan? I mean, what are you now, year 5 or?
Yeah, well, probably depends what year you start on, Paul, to be honest. So I tend to be flexible with the start date and the end date. So, so right now I'm calling it, 2021 is year 1 again. So we'll start again in 2021. And we do have a 5-year plan. We have redesigned the 5-year plan many times. So
is this for the benefit of PR or your dad or both?
Yeah, both.
So essentially it's to keep him happy, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So as you've mentioned, the current crisis, I don't know, that's too strong a word now. It is in, depending on how it's affected you. But let's talk about that. I mean, what state were you in as you went into lockdown?
Well, as I said, just presently, we were in really good shape. We were turning out record numbers of both Apeer doors and Lumi windows. We were in growth. We were doing well. As I said, we were kicking some ass. But lockdown hit us fast and hard. And to be honest, we reacted as fast as we could. But basically, overnight, our customer base closed. I think that's the best way to describe it. Just multiple customers just closed instantly overnight. Supply chain was very quick after that. So our hand was forced. We closed down probably 3 days before lockdown. So we closed on the Tuesday morning before the Thursday lockdown.
Did you shut up everything? Was that it? We went home?
No, so we made a conscious decision to stay open in the core of the company minus manufacturing. So sales stayed on, core team of salesmen, sales managers, Alec Moore and Pete Shear stayed on. Linda Toom obviously stayed on in marketing, Mervyn and Rhonda in finance. So we and myself, obviously, we consciously stayed on. We decided to stay in contact with our customers, to give them information about us on a weekly basis. We put more money into the advertising budget. So we really sort of upped our game during lockdown. So the majority of my staff were furloughed once the scheme started, except for a core of about 10 to 12 people.
Any trouble getting them back from furlough? I mean, I hear stories about this.
I've had a few issues now. I've had a few issues. Some people have been shielding longer than is necessary. And a few people that just not so keen to come back to work, maybe double jobbing elsewhere. But by and large, we're back now to about 85% of the workforce that we had pre-lockdown.
And I mean, that's extraordinary, really, because we are far from out of this.
No, it's unreal.
Do you think that's a bubble that's going to burst, or do you think it's sustainable?
Potentially. There's a lot of pent-up demand there. There's no doubt we're seeing it. But I think the thing that's thrown me is we still don't have all of our customer base back as we speak. We do have some murmurings of trouble ahead, but we would expect to come back slightly ahead of where we were. Because we have gained market share. I mean, we've opened customers with the sales team that were left all the way through lockdown. You know, we had people, we were on the phone, we were doing Zoom calls, we did sales pitches multiple times, myself and the team. So we were very active. We spent the time really trying to get in contact with the people we wanted to talk to all the way through lockdown. We didn't actually stop. You know, we even produced some advertisements during lockdown with the marketing team. You know, so we were very active.
I mean, there's been a lot of discussion or there is a lot of discussion about the good, what I would call the good, the bad, and the ugly suppliers.
Yeah.
Those that supported their suppliers and customers, those that were simply uncommunicative and unhelpful and just kind of didn't do anything. And then actually the ugly, those that were quite cynical, shut up shop and stop paying and whatever. You're obviously going to be one of the good.
Yeah.
Did you have what was your experience of others?
Well, from my perspective, our supply chain has been by and large very, very good. We made a conscious decision to pay suppliers as much as possible, as quick as possible. With some key ones, with some large containers coming in, we instigated payment plans just to ease cash flow until the furlough money started coming in. There were 5% who were diabolical and shall not be forgotten. That's all I think I should say in that one.
Okay.
But it just unpalatable behaviour, and that would and to me, I just don't understand the business model of that. For ourselves, what we did for our customers, we very quite quickly brought the finance team together and we talked about payment plans for our customers, people who were struggling with liquidity, how we could help them, and what things we could do to even help them access loans. So some of our customer base are quite large, we'll have a full finance team. Some are quite small, they're family-owned operations, they have no real in-depth knowledge of finance and how to access some of the loans. So we did help quite a few of the smaller customers access the bounce-back loans, the first civil loans, just so they can understand the process that we'd also engage them as well.
With moving ahead from that, you have done, as a business, a lot of exhibitions. You used to do a lot of the home shows, consumer home improvement shows, and one thing or another. A dozen a year, sometimes more than a dozen a year.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy to me.
It does.
Are you doing those anymore, or?
No, we definitely aren't. It's
why the change?
It's a big ask on the team. It's a large cost, and with not a very good revenue stream coming from it quickly enough, is the only way I can describe those home building shows. You do get to see the public, get to talk to them, but in that market, which is more of the new build, self-build market, it's a long supply chain, so it's a long gestation period from an order, from an inquiry to an order. So you have a lot of money up front for orders that may not materialize for a year to 18 months. So it's not a great route to market for us.
In fairness, I think it took you a few years to come to that conclusion, though, didn't it?
It did. a year too long.
but part of that, I mean, obviously I'm talking to you with my Fit Show hat on today.
Yeah.
Although that's we're not here entirely to discuss that, but you have been at every Fit Show.
We have since 2013. We launched our Moto range in 2013. That was our first modern tech on the door, and it was fantastic. A great launch, great platform. A product we're still selling a lot of as we speak. So I'm a big fan of the Fit Show. I'm not just saying that now. I am a big fan of the Fit Show.
It'll do. We'll take that one. But you weren't. I mean, it was kind of shock horror. that somebody said you told one of the Fit Show team that you weren't going to do 21. You weren't
I really.
Next May. I mean, what's that about? If you
well, I suppose it was the lockdown jitters. Will there even be a show if the COVID thing flares up again and there's not a vaccine? You know, that was, I suppose, my kind of theory, because you would, if that did happen, you'd have a lot of work put into it before. But in saying that, I mean, things have calmed down since the early days of this pandemic. People are a lot more confident now. We're obviously, gaining traction with market share. We want to go see our customers. I suppose it was just initially, obviously Finsterboy was cancelled this year, and the idea for us was, will there be another cancellation next year? So that was probably the just initial jitters, and that's why we didn't want to go.
So you are going?
We are definitely going. We're going. Looking forward to
stand.
Yeah, stand's booked. Stand's booked. We're looking forward to it. Got a great stand quite close to the Fit Bar, so hopefully see most of the people at the show. So
I seem to recall you have quite a good bar yourself.
We do. Yeah.
So I read somewhere recently that somebody was saying that, would you regard yourself as an entrepreneur?
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody suggested that our industry, if I may be so bold to include myself in it, our industry, it will be more resilient than others, perhaps more formal businesses, because of that, because of the high number of entrepreneurs, self-made people, self-drivers, who essentially use their wits, their energy to drive their businesses on. What do you think? Do you think that that's a valid thing or fanciful?
No, I think so. I think there's a lot of people in our industry who are not scared to roll up their sleeves, get stuck in, come through adversity. I mean, there are obviously going to be some casualties, but I think this industry is very resilient. There's a lot of, as you mentioned, drivers, a lot of innovation in the industry at the minute. It's going to be new ways of doing business. People are working on it already. So I'm very positive for the future of the industry. If anything, the trends for home improvements are looking very positive. And so I think we should be more creative now in how we get to the customer and how we engage with the customer. Some models might change, some businesses might falter, but the good ones will adapt and overcome. And I think that's, it's a positive thing for the industry.
What do you mean more creative? Give me an example.
Okay, so I've seen a lot of work now on virtual showrooms. I think that's very interesting. Whether the showroom is dead or not is probably a bit presumptive yet, because I think showrooms will be back in action pretty soon. In fact, I was in one in Dublin yesterday that was exceptionally busy. There was no shortage of demand. I would imagine that will continue, but the virtual showrooms and how people have adapted to them has been very, very impressive. And the product you can display in those, again, I think is a very positive take on our industry.
Do you think the society will just drop back into how its old ways, or do you think there will be sustained change?
I do. I think we're creatures of habit. I know there's talk of a new norm and how this will all change, but I don't see it. I just think, it's not be too long before everybody's back to normal. We might wash our hands more. We will have more hand sanitizers. I think the masks will go by and by after another period of 6 months. If we get a vaccine inside the next 3-4 months, I think you'll see a massive change very quickly.
You are by nature, I would suggest, an optimist.
Very optimistic.
but how soon do you think we'll get back to pre-coronavirus business levels?
If we start getting vaccines in September, October, I would have thought this year. But 2021, I think we'll be back to normal. I really do. Now, obviously there's a lot of predictions about a recession. We'll just have to deal with that. We've been through recessions before. We'll have more after this one. But I think people's habits will not have changed as much as all the predictions say. And I don't think we'll see that biggest, we won't see any seismic changes in our industry.
I'm going to throw one spoiler in there.
Yeah.
Brexit. Nobody talks about Brexit.
No, which is brilliant.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to think we still can't get a deal done. I don't see any reason why we can't, have frictionless trade, north, south, east, west, island to island. So that wouldn't worry me. Wouldn't worry me in the slightest.
Good. So business as usual.
I think so. I think sooner rather than later. I said I was in Dublin recently. We'll be going over to England soon. I don't see anybody saying that things have changed drastically. In fact, quite the different. The only difference I've seen now is appointments by viewings by appointment only in showrooms. It's about the only thing that's slightly changed that I can see.
Onwards and upwards. Asa McGillian, thank you very much for your time.
Good to see you, Paul. Talk soon.
And you catch up one-to-one, hopefully, at the Fit Show.
Looking forward to it.
All right,
Cheers,
take care.
thanks.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.